When it comes to back development, there's 6 things that you can do right away that are going to have an immediate impact on your size, strength, and muscularity of your back. And it starts right here at the pull-up bar. And I get it. It's one of the hardest exercises you could do, and I'm about to make it just a little bit harder, but way more rewarding. You see, because a lot of us focus so much on trying to get ourselves up over the bar, when I really want you to focus on what you're doing down here. Because a lot of us stop right about here rather than going down to a full stretch. And I understand why, because initiating the next rep from that slightly bent position seems to make it so much easier to do. But I promise you, easy is not the path to better back development. Making it more difficult will be. So going all the way down is key. Getting yourselves down though is different than going completely unpacked and allowing your biceps to almost touch your ears. You can still have a degree of packing of the shoulders by just pulling your shoulder blades down, but I want those arms to be straight before you initiate the next repetition, because every dead hang pull-up that you do allows you to get into that fully stretched lat position. That's a much better stimulator for growth. And it's not just here, it would happen the same thing on a squat. We know that staying 1 or 2 inches above parallel is vastly different than going too parallel or below in terms of the amount of weight you can use. Well, the same thing happens here. I don't care how many repetitions you do. If you do them in this way, the reps will go down, but the results will go up. And that concept doesn't have to just apply to pull-ups. As a matter of fact, another staple back exercise, the lat pull-down, could benefit from the same advice. Making sure that you're getting that full extension up at the top is going to give you that better stretch that will help you to build a better back. But it doesn't just stop there. See, a lot of times I think an opportunity missed is to actually take away the bar that you're used to using in place of one maybe they don't use for this exercise, a tricep push-down bar. Because what this does is it forces us to go a lot narrower in terms of our grip, which holds a lot of additional benefits. When you do your pull downs this way, your elbows immediately start to get in front of your body more, which will allow us to get a better stretch on the lats as we get up towards the top and into that fully extended arm position. And again, without the option of a wide bar, I just don't have anywhere else to grab here. In other words, I'm limited to the grip width, and it's putting me right where I need to be because I'm using this bar. But what if I didn't have this bar? How narrow should I go? Well, it's actually easy to determine, because if I held this up right here, you can see that my mid-placement hand grip on this will be right about the knurling, the middle finger being around the knurling of the traditional lat pull-down bar. Either way, you can't be over-reliant on the wider grip positions because they have a tendency to do more development for the teres major. If you want to get more of that stretch benefit here, like I talked about, narrow up that grip and you'll see better gains. Speaking of the lat pull down, have you ever given any consideration to where you do the exercise? In other words, instead of just doing the typical 3 sets of 10 as maybe your second exercise in your back workout, what about mixing it up a little bit and doing it after this exercise? You see, if you haven't considered this, you're not only missing a golden opportunity, but you're probably making Mike Mentor roll over in his grave, because he used the straight arm push down or the dumbbell lat pullover as the perfect pre-exhaust exercise for a more compound underhand variation of the lat pull down. So what I'm talking about is if you do a straight arm push down here, you're getting a lot of that adduction focus that is the responsibility of the lats, getting those elbows to drive down and close to your sides. And if you do the exercise right, you can fatigue out the lats to a really big degree here on just that one pre-exhaust exercise. But what would I do from here? Well, I'd actually run my ass over with very little rest to the pull down machine, but this time, not only is it close grip, but it's underhand. And when we go to the underhand grip here, we have another thing working for us, and that is the biceps will help us now to push those lats to and through failure that we just went on the first exercise. So with the biceps being able to kick in and the lats already pre-fatigued, I can keep going further and through that typical point where my lats would have already given up, right? The biceps can now assist the lats to keep going for maybe that 1 or 2 additional growth producing reps that's actually costing you right now. So it's not just about the exercises that you pick, but a lot of it has to do with the sequence of the exercises you pick and sometimes how you pair up to the exercises that you pick. It all matters.
Guys, do you mind if I interject here a little bit? I mean, just talking about mistakes for back training, and I made some pretty big mistakes. I mean, hell, this is what I look like, but this is what I look like now. And if you want to know how I did it, it's with this exercise right here. And it's a very simple one, and I know Jeff's talked about it about 1,000,000 times, but I'm going to talk about it just once for you, and it's the face pull. Now this exercise was huge for me in my back development, not only for, deadlifting and also my aesthetics, but it also kept me healthy and in the gym and training more consistently. And there's two things that I did with this exercise that led to all that development. One, it was consistency, and I was doing it every single day, just like Jeff told me to do. And I did it after every single workout, no matter what. Secondly, I did it right, because too often we see people do face pulls like this. Until Jeff showed me how to do it properly with keeping my hands and elbows at the right angle, 90 degrees, every time I did a rep. This was huge for me and made an immediate difference the second that I tried it. And I know it's gonna make a huge difference for you too the second that you try it.
So the next opportunity here is on a classic barbell row. And you should be doing the exercise, except you need to have the right discipline when you do the exercise. Because how often is it that either when you're doing it or when you watch someone else do it, that over time, when they start with a pretty good bent over position, they start to just stand more and more upright until it looks more like an upright row rather than an actual barbell row. Or the other thing is we actually start to bring our chest to the bar to try to visually cheat the idea that we're actually getting that bar to our chest rather than using the muscles to do the work, right? Momentum isn't a muscle. So what can we do instead? I'm encouraging you to do chest supported rows. And what this does is it eliminates that momentum right off the bat. And it also fixes that back at that proper angle from the beginning to the end, eliminating that rise that you do as I just showed you. But it also does a couple other things. If you have any low back pain at all, and you've had a hard time barbell rowing in space, you really want to be able to do this because it supports that. There is no stress on the low back in this exercise. Furthermore, you can actually get a little bit of extended reach of the dumbbells that you really can't safely with a barbell. And what that reach does is it allows us to protract our shoulder blades around the bench. In other words, really spread them out to get more stretch on all of the back muscles, particularly those between the shoulder blades, but also get out in front of us a little bit to get a little bit on the lats too. The bottom line is that the chest supported row kind of fixes some of the issues that those with less discipline run into, a lot of times beginners, when they use the standard barbell row, which is great for building your back up, but again, is rife with a lot of pitfalls on your way to your gains.
Me again, and also me again, back in the day. I wanted to inject one more thing that Jeff hasn't talked about, and that is carries. That was huge for my back development, as you can see here. Now, how does it work? Simple. When you're doing carries, you're training your grip, and that's important for any pulling exercise because anytime I was doing deadlifts, rows, pull downs, or hell, even pull ups, my grip was given out quickly. So I needed to train my grip to get stronger in order to be able to overload the muscles in my back while using heavier weights or my own body weight, such as with the pull-up. The other thing that the carries did was it trained my traps. Now I know it's an isometric exercise, but when you're carrying heavy weight, it's gonna work your traps big time. And I like to think that my traps are one of my best features. And if you agree, leave a comment below and let me know. Or you can leave a comment saying, Jesse, please stop interrupting these videos. You're getting really annoying. And I'll just go f myself. So see ya.
Speaking of the rows, we know that they're a great movement pattern that everyone should do in their back workouts that helps with building that overall back thickness. But did you know you might be missing an opportunity to determine where in your back you're getting more thick? Because the elbows will tell the story. If I took something like one of my favorite rowing exercises here, the seated row, I could determine where I start packing on that thickness by placing my elbows in a different position. If I want the lats to be the focus here, I'm gonna keep those elbows down and tight to my side. You can see as I row this bar back and really focus on getting the elbows back behind my body, the keeping of the elbows really tightly tucked to the sides is what influences the lats most. If instead I wanted to develop the upper back or even the rear delts, I've said all along, one of the best rear delt exercises you could possibly do is a seated row. I will let my elbows flare or even drift a little bit further away from my sides to more of a T position that's gonna get me to hit those upper back muscles more effectively. The idea is the elbows tell the story, and if you don't even know that right now, or if you're not working that into your plan, then you're missing a big opportunity to get thicker everywhere and not just in one place. Jesse, not everywhere. Now the next one here is a little bit debatable for some, but it really shouldn't be, because to me, it's actually indisputable. If you're not deadlifting, then you're not doing all the back exercises that you should be. And honestly, I've talked about it being a good leg exercise, and it can be done on leg day, but just make sure you're doing that on either back or leg day if you want to build more of a complete back, because it's not just about the lats, but it's about all the muscles in the back, top to bottom, namely here the paraspinals. Look at any big deadlifter, like Jesse at this point, and you can see that there's a thickness to the lumbar paraspinal muscles that's only really achieved through either really heavy rowing or consistent heavy deadlifting. And what we get from the deadlift is, yes, an isometric exercise for the lats, but by creating the stability in the lats, we allow the lumbar paraspinal muscles to do more of the work more efficiently. And that's where we can tax them and actually build their strength up, fortifying us against future low back injury if you do this right. Now, quick disclaimer, while the other things I showed you here might be able to be immediately implemented and you can start to see instant gains, this is an exercise that you're gonna have to put your time in, like Jesse has, in order to see those results, but they're definitely gonna be worth it. Now, if you're looking for something that does give you instant benefits, well, that's where the ATHLEAN-X pre-workout Excite comes in. You can find this over at ATHLEAN-X.com. Now that my cheap plug is done, make sure you click subscribe, turn on notifications so you never miss a video when we put one out. And also, if you're looking for complete plans and those supplements, you can find them over at ATHLEAN-X.com. All right, guys, see you soon.